My earliest memories of Seth are of him sneezing all over the azaleas.
Well, I had an allergy. I outgrew it.
Yeah, try this, Jessica. Best julep in the South.
Well, that would be hard to do, but I believe you. It's different.
I developed that mint myself. I have a patent on it. Allergies are psychological.
Nothing wrong with my psychology, Buford, thank you.
Oh, come on, Seth. How many times have you been down here in the last 20 years? Twice, both for funerals. You wouldn't be here now if you weren't driving Jessica to Orlando. Isn't that right?
Well, I'll let Seth speak for himself. I wish you'd both find some other topic other than childhood rivalries.
Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Such professional.
This is Sean.
And Steve.
And welcome to episode 23 of the Cabot Cove Confab podcast. And today we're going to talk about the scent of murder.
Someone fart? Oh, whew. Sorry.
It's not about farts. Steve, could you please take things seriously for once?
Oh,
not
I want to wish you, Sean.
Jokes.
I want to wish you. No, damn it, you ruined it. I'm going to make dumb jokes, but I wanted to wish you a very happy Mother's Day.
Oh yes, we're recording on Mother's Day, and I have not talked to my mother yet today because she's
You're a horrible child. Sorry.
She'll probably call while we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one year I was on vacation and I called. I can't remember if it was her birthday or Mother's Day, but I called her like at 5 o'clock in the evening.
Okay,
and
a
she
little
got
late.
really mad at me.
Yeah,
like almost crying.
Yeah, you're horrible.
Well, and now she sleeps until 4 o'clock anyway. I don't know what I'm supposed to call her and talk to her. And also, a big shout out, by the way, to Amazon. Because she's like, well, I've got my my list on Amazon. Because the way they've got it set up now is you can go on there and you can get, it's like a wedding registry. It's just basically a greed list, a wish list of things you want people to buy you. So, you don't get,
I don't think anybody ever looks at mine. I update mine constantly. And I've never gotten anything off that list. I don't even know why I'd fill it out, quite honestly. Yeah. What I'll use it for is if there's something I'm interested in, but I'm not. Either I want to price it around a little, or I'm not real sure I want to buy it right now. I'll put it in that list, and that way it's kind of an easy go-to. I don't know.
I searched for her list and nothing came up. It's like there's a block or something on my computer for her list. So
maybe she blocked you. Do not allow Sean to access my wish list. That horrible son of mine.
She's getting a book, which is arriving later than I thought it would, and she's getting a $50 gift certificate from Etsy. So take that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because I just felt, last time I did Amazon, and I just felt like this was, Anyway.
Hey, if your mom does call, can you please keep recording so we can all listen in?
Okay. All right, I'll do that. So
podcast gold, I guarantee it.
I want to share something with you, Steve. I want to share a short story that I heard on a podcast, and I want to my viewing pleasure recently that I want to share with you. I heard this great story, and it was so good that I started crying while I was driving, and I almost had to pull over. So. This is from the podcast, My Favorite Murder. Somebody wrote in with this story. Well, this guy, he's at Lowe's, which is based, the Home Depot. It was a Lowe's. He was at Lowe's shopping. And, the workers there, they've got those orange vests, or maybe they're red vests. Maybe that's Home Depot. I don't know. But this guy that's working there has a picture of somebody on his vest. It's a picture of this guy's, the storyteller's friend who died like 20 years ago. So he has to go. He goes up to the worker and goes, that's a picture of my friend. Why are you wearing a picture of my dead friend? You know what the employee said? He goes, his heart is inside me.
Oh, wow.
You thought it was going to be a joke, didn't you? Didn't you?
No, I was kind of curious where it was going. I don't think I was thinking a joke, but that's interesting.
Story?
Yeah.
Isn't that a great story? Yeah.
Would you give me your liver if I needed it?
I don't. Well, see, I would have to be dead. I don't care. And I don't think you want my liver.
No, I would want your liver. I'm just kidding.
You know when we went into lockdown, I had a blood test, because we kind of took up the bottle a little bit more than usual when we went into the whole quarantine. Not that we really had a lockdown here in Texas. It was just sort of stay home until Greg Abbott demanded that you go back to work.
Right.
But we started drinking. I got a warning from my doctor. You have to stop drinking. Your blood in your liver is too bad. And I
you need to, because you, sir, are no Larry Hagman. You will not be able to get 2 livers. Or how many livers did he get in his lifetime?
Larry Hagman? The guy from Dallas?
Yeah. And I Dream of Jeannie. You never heard, like, he went through 2 liver transplants. At least
really?
2. It may have been more. But he was such a heavy drinker that he was burning through them like someone wears a pair of socks. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember there was a baseball player. I think it was like Mickey Mantle or something. When he I think it may have been him, but when he got a liver transplant, there were people that were angry, like, how dare he get a liver transplant? He's a heavy drinker. It should go to, Susie Q instead, or whatever. I think that's an interesting argument, but yeah.
Well, it depends on who has the money,
Yeah, I sometimes think that. It could be like that movie, I think it's called The Island. Did you ever see that? I probably just gave away a big spoiler for the movie. I don't remember.
What was it about? It sounds familiar.
It was about these people. They live in this perfect society.
And was it with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, yes, that's them. Yes,
that's it. Yep. Uh-huh.
And then they find out that they're just like people that are being bred and raised to just supply body parts to like really rich people that aren't on the quote-unquote island.
Right. Yeah. They're just basically not sleeves. Parts, extra parts. Speaking of that, I mean, we are just, people. This is never scripted. They probably are aware of that. But when you say something, it makes me think of something else, and we riffed on that for 5 minutes. But I saw a trailer that Karen Gillan is going to be in. I don't know if it's a Netflix movie or what, but the premise is that she's got 6 months to live. So she decides, it's very Black Mirror-esque, but she decides that she wants to have a clone of herself to live on in her absence. However, after she goes through the whole process, and there's another Karen Gillan, or whatever the character's name, so there's now 2 of them, and she'll teach her replacement all the things, her memories, so that she can continue on. The problem is, whatever was killing her, or she was diagnosed with, is cured. And so now she's not going to die, and there's now 2 of them. So this world where this movie takes place, this reality, there can't be 2 of you. So there's a game. It's almost like Running Man. You have to battle to the death with your clone, and whoever wins gets to continue on. And so Karen Gillan and her clone have to prepare for Mortal Kombat, basically, and one's going to have to kill the other.
Okay.
Interesting?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting, I have to admit. I just don't like Karen Gillan, so...
Really?
I should take that back. I saw her... She was in this movie that was actually really good, called Oculus. It was a horror movie about a haunted mirror, which sounds just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you have to see the movie. She actually did really good in that. So...
Well, I saw a movie with her not too long ago where it's called The Bubble. It's a Netflix movie by who was the director? Judd Apatow. And it's horrible. It's really bad. I was really It's a comedy. It's about these actors who are filming a film franchise about dinosaurs taking over the Earth, and it's like this action film. And so they're making the 6th version of this film, but everything's under COVID is under lockdown. So they take these actors and they move them into a really nice hotel. They pamper them. They do their scenes and stuff like that. But it's in a bubble, so they don't get to leave the outside world. They only get to interact with each other, and they all start to go crazy. All these actors start to go crazy. Pedro Pascal's in it. David Duchovny's in it. I mean, there's a lot of well-known actors in it, and they start to drive each other insane. It's it's an interesting idea. The first few minutes are actually funny, but by the time the movie ends, it's like this movie's horrible. It's stupid.
I don't care. Yeah. This is the nature of comedies. There are people that can watch every single comedy forward and back.
Yeah.
And but not me. I have a low tolerance for that kind of shit. As opposed to horror movies, I'll just watch any stupid horror movie. Speaking of which, for those of you paying attention, if y'all learned Joe Bob Briggs, he just started his next season last week. Very first movie he saw was Night of the Living Dead. And if you remember, we watched that movie for the last podcast we did, the shit we watch on Netflix, which you can find it, people. For some reason, it's still available on Apple Podcasts. I don't know why. Everybody always asks us about the TARDIS Tavern, but that is with the Smithsonian right now. The only way you can get it is to go to the Smithsonian Institute. And anyway, very good. I learned so much about Night of the Living Dead, and they had, and I don't expect you to appreciate this here, Steve, they had none other than the son of Svengoolie on. And the son of Svengoolie was a horror host from Chicago. And Joe Bob Briggs asked him, he goes, is there any time that it was really scary for you? And Svengoolie says, yes. There was this one episode where John Pertwee was on. And it was live, and they were doing Steve, he just walked away from the microphone. I'm telling my fabulous John Pertwee story.
I am listening. I'm clearing my throat so it doesn't. You were mad last time that I was blowing my nose too much. I'm still recovering. I got some phlegm in the back of my throat. I don't want to clear my throat over the microphone, so excuse me. But
this is why I drink, Steve. This is why I drink. This is why my liver.
This is okay. That's my fault. Okay, so John Pertwee. So what happened with John Pertwee?
So Svengoolie says, well, John Pertwee was on, and he was going to do this thing where he's inside a coffin that's propped up on the wall, and he was going to, they were going to open, and he was going to be introduced, opening the coffin and walking out. Well, when he did that, his hand brushed up on one of the cheap ass columns that they had in the studio, and it fell down and almost crushed them both. And I'm like, well, that's something. So I look up the clip, and you can find it on YouTube, John Pertwee on Svengoolie, where Pertwee accidentally brushes up against the column, and it falls down and nearly crushes them both. But one of the reasons that, speaking of Doctor Who, later on in the episode, after Svengoolie leaves, Joe Bob Briggs says that Night of the Living Dead was part of a double feature originally. It was shown with none other than, as Joe Bob pronounces it, Doctor Who and the Daleks.
Really?
I'm like, no!
Why did they paired those two films together?
Yeah, it's a double feature. That's not...
A cheesy sci-fi, British sci-fi, with an American horror film.
I don't know. Well, there was no copyright in Night of the Living Dead, so it was literally all over the fucking place. I mean, eventually he actually pulled out a box full of all the editions of the movie that were on VHS. And there were a dozen different companies published it on VHS, so you can, get... I remember they did it in color. Remember that? Well, who was that? Who was that guy? Jane Fonda's boyfriend, Ted Turner. Ted Turner of AMC. I think he owned... Did he own me?
Yeah, I know
something.
I know who Ted Turner is. Yeah, he's owned sports teams, and I mean... Yeah.
Oh, he owned TMC, Turner Classic Movies.
Right.
And he was really into colorizing old movies.
I didn't know that about him, but
Yeah. And so he colorized movies like Night of the Living Dead and God Help Us All, It's a Wonderful Life. Because if you've never really lived, apparently, unless you see...
You just don't see those anymore. I mean, even to this day, I mean, it's kind of a colorization of black and white, classic black and white films. You know, they're out there, but no one really talks about them because it's just still... I mean, I remember when that was going on in the 80s, and there were teams that would do that work. And they even said, I remember they were doing interviews on, like, Entertainment Tonight or some shit like that. And they were saying, like, people hate us. Like, we get hate mail all the time. That was back in the 80s. They
deserve it.
And to this day, it's still frowned upon. Yeah.
Somebody worked very, very hard to light that movie, to make it just so it would look fantastic and black. And I remember, this is years ago. This is over 20 years ago. I remember my mom and I talking about it with my grandparents, and my grandpa saying, well, I think it's just great. What are you? You don't know me. God damn it.
You know what's fascinating is when they take a film that was produced in color and turned it into black and white, can actually be very dramatic in its presentation. For example, the Mad Max film, I can't think of the name.
Mad Max Fury Road?
Fury Road, thank you. I bought the Blu-ray version. It's the Chrome edition. I think I've briefly discussed this before, but they took the print and they turned it into black and white, and it's so crisp and clear. It's so visually beautiful. Like you wouldn't think watching that movie in black and white, but that's what they did. And they adjusted the contrast a little, but it looks great. It's one of my favorite home releases of film.
That's a great movie. I'd be interested
if you could find it.
I have that with The Mist. It's on DVD. It's 2 discs. One disc is in color. The other one is black and white. The black and white one didn't do much for me. You know, I've got this story. I know I've told it on the podcast before about Mad Max Fury Road. It's not just our story, because we have a story about Mad Max Fury Road. Well, I'll just tell the story, both stories. I was in Dallas visiting you, and you're like, well, you know, we could go to the movies. And I'm like, Steve, what movie are we going to see?
Well, no, your concern was you didn't want to share your popcorn with me again. Go on.
It's okay. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean loves his movie theater popcorn, as do I. But there are certain things in life where people aren't willing to share a certain thing.
No.
Sean will not share his popcorn with anybody. That is his domain. That's his bucket of popcorn. Don't you dare think he's going to offer you a kernel of popcorn. He will not.
You know, I don't know. Your movie theater, does it have the butter topping anymore? Do they even have, or is it like smoking? Like, oh, we don't do that anymore. But if you want to, you can go over there in the corner and put your own butter topping on.
You
I don't
put
get
your
that.
own on. Yeah.
Yeah, because I go to Cinemark, and you have to put your own on, because it's almost like, no, we're not going to be responsible for killing you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We're not responsible for your heart attack.
Yeah, so I like the topping. I mean, to me, that's half the movie experience. You don't like it?
No, it's too greasy. It upsets my little tummy.
Well, you know, it is a little greasy, and I do have to wash my face, and I do kind of have a popcorn hanger.
And you get pimples around your lips the next day, and...
But, man, I love it. But the thing is, you go over there, and I remember back in the day, you'd say, "Can I have some butter? Extra butter?" And then the guy would just go over there, and it was like a faucet. It would just come out, and so good.
And he would bring over a waiver for you to sign before he sold it to you.
Now you got to get your own popcorn, and you push the red button, and it comes out just a trickle, just a little tiny bit. And, you know, I appreciate it. Once in a while, I'll see somebody doing it, and they'll do the butter, then they'll add some salt, they'll do the shaking thing, and they'll go... And I respect that. I totally do, because I think there should be a good amount of butter, or whatever you want to call it, and salt is very important, too.
Oil,
and sometimes, you know, the popcorn salt isn't good. Sometimes just regular salt is okay. But anyway, I don't know. And I always end up eating all the popcorn before the movie starts anyway.
This is not the topic you started with. What are you going on about? You were talking about Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah. You're like, okay. You said, oh, we go to the movies. They said, well, what movie are we going to see? Because I was like Mr. Grumpy. And you're like, well, wow. Mad Max Fury Road is out. And I'm like, I don't want to see that movie. I don't want to see that. Because at the time, I did not like
There's no talking in that movie. I don't want to see it.
You ruined my next story. And it turns out it was like the best action movie I've ever seen. When I saw it, didn't expect it to be so good. It blew me away. But yeah, that's what my parents said. I'm like, guys, look at this. It's a great action movie. These are the people who said when I was at their house on Christmas, I said, I don't want to watch It's a Wonderful Life. Let's watch something else. Do you know what we watched? And they said it was really good. They said it was good, what? Steve. Under Siege. And I am so disappointed in my mother. I can't believe.
Who was in this? Is that a Steven Seagal film?
Yes, that's Steven Seagal.
Oh my God. Okay.
Siege. Yeah.
Huh. I've seen scenes of It's a Wonderful Life. I've seen it probably on Turner's movie classics, with commercial breaks. But I have never seen that film from beginning to absolute end. I've yet to do that. But I know I've seen the film. I've probably seen the film in its entirety, but in bits and pieces here and there. But I've never sat down, watched the beginning, and all the way to the end. But I know the scenes. I know the lines. The bell ringing, when he's talking to the cops, when he comes back after asking for what was the angel's name? There I was showing
Clarence.
Clarence. I was about to say Harvey. I knew it wasn't Harvey. That was a different film. But like when the pharmacist beats him over the head and his ear starts to bleed. Like I know all those scenes. When the people start coming back and they want their money out of the bank, all the major highlights of the film. But never seen it all the way through.
So yeah, that's it doesn't suck. But if you ever watch it, don't watch it at Christmas. I know everybody's like, well, it's a Christmas movie. It's not. It's not. It really is not a Christmas movie.
It's just as much of a Christmas movie as Die Hard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so sick and fucking tired of people on social media being like, Die Hard, it's my favorite Christmas movie. Stop it. You're just saying that because you want to be cool. Okay?
All right.
Alien could be set on Christmas. We don't know. That could be.
No, I think there is. Isn't there a Christmas tree in the background somewhere in that film?
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right, Steve. Yes. Oh my God, it's the best Christmas movie ever.
No, really, is there? It seems to recall that.
I know it's. I don't think there is. I don't think there is. I'm trying to. I'm thinking of specifically when they kill Ash and he's trying to kill Sigourney Weaver with a folded up magazine, and I think they're in Harry Dean Stanton's room with all the pictures of the naked ladies up on the wall.
Oh, right, yeah.
One more thing. I'm sorry. I know you want to talk about Murder, She Wrote.
I'm kidding. It's not funny.
I know the readers want to hear about Murder, She Wrote, according to the emails that we got.
Are there any that say, I'm sick and tired of your pre-show banter crap?
No, because they turn it off. They turn it off. They're like, fuck this shit. They're that one person who left us a 2-star review on Apple Podcasts. Speaking of which, people... If you have nothing else to do with your life, and I know you don't at this particular moment because you're listening to this, go on Apple Podcasts, give us a nice rating because there's only 22 on there right now. And it's been stuck at 22 since ad infinitum. And if you want to feel especially perky, you can write us a review on there.
Perky?
And, we'll read it out right here on the show. We call this a show. Anyway, one more thing. I saw a film. This is a film that you saw. Usually, I see the films, and then you see them, and then you say how horrible they are, like with Halloween. But you saw this film already, and I just saw it. And the reason I watched it is because it won the Jessica Chastain won Best Actress. She won the Academy Award. I actually wanted to see this anyway, even before that. But I saw it earlier this weekend. Eyes of Tammy Faye. About Tammy Faye Baker and, to a lesser extent, Jim Baker. And
right.
I have...
Andrew Garfield played
Andrew
Jim
Garfield,
Baker.
yes.
Yeah.
And who was it? Vince Vaughn as Jerry Falwell? Yeah, I can't remember. But I've got good things to say about it. I enjoyed it. left and right. Like, you know, it wasn't a bad
So
movie.
you watched the whole thing all the way through?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't finished it. I got about halfway through, and then I need to pick it back up.
Well, you know, here's the thing. They don't go all the way through until she dies. Okay? So I had a coworker, fella, little gay guy, brand new baby lawyer. He's like, "Oh yeah, have you heard of Tammy Faye? Yeah, she's living somewhere." And I'm like, "No, she's not. She's dead. She's been dead for almost 20 years." And here's the thing. I don't think they really. I think they just touched the tip of the iceberg with her life.
What do you mean?
There was a documentary in the 90s called Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yes.
Where they talked to her and they went through her life, and that was far more educational than this movie was.
What did you miss in this film, or what do you feel like is missing? Like her. I got to the point where Jim Baker was, like, he had just proposed. They were doing the puppet show on the 700 Club or whatever it was, and that's when whoever I don't know my religious, zealots that well, but that they had offered Jim Baker like his own show outside of the puppet thing.
Pat Robertson was the
Pat
host,
Robertson,
or is
okay.
the host of the. Is it Pat Robertson? Yeah.
So I that's as far as I got. I think that's about halfway. So what did you find missing?
They did, maybe this was the purpose of the film, but they did mostly when she was with Jim, and then once they divorced, the movie was over in like 5-10 minutes. A lot of her life post Jim was extremely positive.
Really?
Yeah. As a gay boy in the 90s, Tammy Faye Baker was a gay icon. I mean, she was one of those few people that, she was religious, and she was very outspoken for the gays. It's touched briefly in the movie where she's talking to an AIDS patient, and then it's mentioned at the end. After when the movie's over, they always show a picture of the person. Tammy Faye went on to be an outspoken.
I didn't know that about her, actually. Huh.
Yeah, absolutely. She was a huge gay activist, and so the gays love her, and this gay loves her, and they didn't really do much with that. They just mention it at the end of the movie, and that's what I thought was so cool about her, is that she was so religious, but she was nevertheless a gay activist.
And I'm sure we're going to. No, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
I was just going to say that, we may lose some viewers on my opinion of this, but I think those big mega churches are they're scams to me. I think it's, in general, I think they've put in a bad taste of religion in a lot more people than it has helped. But there's still some good people that, come out, and obviously she was one of them.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about her, but it doesn't mean everybody who's associated with religion's bad, but it unfortunately coming from, to me, that's probably one of the worst environments for that core religion itself. I think it's mistreated, misguided. It's the leadership is just, it's abusive. Well, I if I grew up thinking that was what religion was, I would just zone that stuff. It's just crazy.
She had a talk show, actually, for a very short time.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
And she co-hosted it with Jim J. Bullock, huge gay guy. Mm-hmm. You remember him from? What was it? He did it with Too Close for Comfort.
Yeah, with who's the guy who played the judge on Caddyshack?
God, yes.
At night, something. What was his name?
Ted Knight. Or
Ted
was
Knight.
That the character
Yes.
Is that his actual name? Because
I
he
think
was
that's
on
his
Mary
name.
Tyler Moore. Okay, all right.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was great too.
And Jim Baker, I forgot that he went to jail. And you would have thought that he would have stopped trying to scam money out of people, but no, he didn't stop. Just recently, in COVID time, he was trying to sell the shit that would cure COVID. Did you remember this?
Oh, was he the one that was with selling like bottles of bleach or some shit?
Yes. I think it was him.
It's stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. It's crazy shit like that.
Yeah. Dude, like, haven't you learned? You haven't learned, sir. You got sued. I think he was actually fined. Anyway.
Murder, She
enough
Wrote.
of that. Yeah, Murder, She Wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about Murder, She Wrote. We are here to talk about Murder, She Wrote and chew bubblegum, and we are all out of bubblegum.
Oh.
Okay. That's me quoting a movie that I haven't even seen and probably don't have any right to quote.
They Live, yes. Which is, by the way, I think I saw it on YouTube for free today.
Really?
Yeah. So if you want to witness a great film that has a fight scene that's about 20 minutes too long in the middle, go for it.
All right.
So in Murder, She Wrote, The Scent of Murder, Season 11, Episode 12, we start off with a couple of craziness going on at the Hazlitt Plantation. So Seth apparently has some family, and where was it? Was it like Georgia somewhere? I'm guessing.
Yeah, all I know is it's somewhere between Maine and Orlando, because that's where Seth is going to drop Jessica off. I guess
she's going to Disney World or something.
Yeah, she's got a book convention in Orlando.
So we're the first.
Because she doesn't drive. She doesn't drive, and apparently she doesn't like to fly either. Because that would be a good time saver to take.
Because every time she goes on a plane, someone dies.
So what does she do? I think I'll go to this fancy dinner party at this rich guy's house.
So yeah, let's start off. So we're introduced. The first person we see on screen is the evil twin of Jim Varney. He's snooping around. Looking for something, and that's when we see Buford Hazlitt, which is Seth's cousin. He gets angry and he shoots at him. At evil Jim Varney.
You call him evil Jim Varney. You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of the Newhart show. This is my cousin Larry.
Yeah.
This is my brother Larry. My other brother Larry.
Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl. Yeah, he looked like that guy. I don't know what the fuck his name is, but yeah.
Probably some inbreeding going on there. Yeah. So I like what Buford Hazlitt says to him. It's like, next time I see you, I'm gonna blow your fool head off.
It's for television.
So did you recognize the actor who played Buford Hazlitt? Because he was in a Murder, She Wrote that we reviewed about 2 episodes ago.
Really? No, I did not recognize him. What was he in?
So he was in Wind Around the Tower. He was the Irish real estate person that was buying up all the property in that little Irish town.
Oh, okay.
And his wife killed him with gas in the lamp.
Oh, I did not realize that. I thought he looked familiar. That's interesting.
Yeah, instead of an Irish accent, now he's got a southern accent. But it's funny because if you haven't guessed already, he will be dying in tonight's episode, and he dies almost the same way in both episodes by being smothered.
Think he was? You think he was like, "Honey, I got a new job." Oh, not again.
I can only think that that either he loved working on the show or the production team liked working with him.
Yeah.
Maybe Angela Lansbury really liked working with him. I don't know, but
there's a small handful of people that have the distinct honor of being both a murderer and a victim on Murder, She Wrote, and one of them, I can't remember one of them, but I think you can count them on one hand. But I remember that one of them is Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. Very, very young Bryan Cranston.
Wait, for Murder, She Wrote, or are we talking about another show?
Murder, She Wrote. He was,
really?
Spoiler, by the way, but you're going to forget about it.
Looking forward to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So apparently Buford is developing I don't know what you would call it, something for perfume, a natural odor from a magnolia tree that produces about 30 times more man gravy than most magnolia trees. Because that's what it looked like, sir. he holds up a little flask. It's like, I think your friend the Kendall Ames, that's the scientist that's working with him.
Yeah,
it's
that's where his son Billy came from. Yeah. This is interesting because I thought this would be more in the story, but it isn't. And there's all this hyperbole about this magnolia tree that he's hidden somewhere. Nobody knows where it is.
Nope.
And it gives off this wonderful scent. And there's an executive. Her name is she's basically a fucking red herring.
Nina Larson.
Larson. That would be Larson. Yeah, she's trying. She's the one that hired the hillbilly guy to go out there and spy and try to find out where the tree is. Nobody knows where it is except for Mr. Ames, Kendall Ames, and he's not telling anybody.
Well, him and Buford are the only two that know the hidden location.
And that's where also Kendall has like his chemistry set, and they go in there and they have secret times, and put their man gravy in the little beaker. I don't get it. I don't know.
That's why the magnolia tree was extra scenty. I don't know. It was extra powerful. Had a little extra human DNA. That's what I would check. Is there human DNA in that little flask of whatever they got from the tree? And is that the sap of the tree? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, okay, there's this one tree that smells different from all the other trees. They treat it like it's Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors or something. It's like,
oh, that would have been fun.
That would have been very interesting. But
feed me, Seymour. Give me more of that man gravy.
Yum.
Okay.
So
yeah. Oh, we should say that. Yeah. So Nina Larson is. So she has a contract with Buford to get this scent from Buford. And there's a contract, but I guess because she's sending in spies, because she's concerned he's going to break the contract, which he does. So she's developing this new perfume that's going to go on the market. It's Forever Scarlet. That's funny. I just now thought of that. So they're talking about a perfume in this, and one of the clues in Wind Around the Tower was perfume.
You remember perfume? Yeah.
Huh.
My God, you're onto something. So Scarlet, yeah.
Oh, but yeah, the name of the perfume is Forever Scarlet, which is obviously a Gone with the Wind reference.
Yeah. So, by the way, this episode, if like-minded people were to see it, probably would be canceled right now, because it's set on a plantation that actually has slaves' quarters, and SJW.
They bring that up.
They don't like when there's Oh, that reminds me. Yeah. I want a big shout out for the Old Dirty Benches podcast. They actually read a tweet that I sent them, and they reviewed the movie Clue. Oh. And I was pleased. I don't know why Plantation.
Oh, gotta take a drink.
But no, this isn't one of my podcasts. There's no drinking when it's not one of my podcasts.
No, the rule is anytime you bring up a podcast, you could.
Anyway, big round of applause to Patty and JB over there. You know what? And I don't know. It's two ladies. Patty, I don't know if it's JD or JB. To this fucking day, I don't know what they're saying. Yeah. So, and we do not have Wiener Schnitzel here. They love Wiener Schnitzel. They're always talking about if they see a movie that they like, they say this was a Wiener Schnitzel.
That's so weird.
I've never been to Wiener Schnitzel.
So, back to Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
So
you know
Seth,
what I like golf. And you know who I love?
Okay. So Seth and Jessica are driving around Georgia, lost. Now they're arguing the whole way. Oh, I shouldn't take those two lefts, or maybe you should have gone this. I'm thinking I wouldn't want to be stuck in that car with the both of them.
He's like, well, if I missed a left turn, I could take a right over there and then another right over there. And she's like, Seth, 2 rights don't make a left. I'm like, oh, that's old people humor. Oh, box your ears, I will.
So they eventually arrive at the plantation home, and turns out it's the Grimaldi house from Crimson Harvest.
Oh, it is. Okay, I don't recall.
Yeah,
I do know.
So and what's weird is because that's another season 11 episode.
Yeah.
So this gets used quite a bit. I guess the wine harvest, wasn't so good after all, and they lost the land, the Grimaldis. Apparently.
Speaking of good wine, very good. That's the Chardonnay that I'm drinking.
Oh. We're also introduced.
65-year-old.
Oh God. I'm just trying to get through my notes, sir.
Okay, fine.
So Sergeant Lindsay, we're introduced to him. He's a local.
Not Lindsay.
Oh, Lindley. Yes, thank you. Sorry. How? Never mind. So Sergeant Lindley, he's the local popo, and we see him.
Yeah, there's always local popo, always, because you can't have Metzger in it, so because she's not in Cabot Cove. So who's the local popo? And in this case, he
Lindley.
had an affair. He once had an affair with Evelyn, who is. I wrote down that she was Buford's girlfriend, but it turns out she's also the estate manager.
Ah, now she looks familiar to me. Do you recognize her from anything?
Okay. The actress's name is Sally Kirkland. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wait a minute, isn't that the lady from All in the Family? But that is Sally Struthers.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not Sally Struthers.
But I know the name Sally Kirkland, and I might be confusing it with products from Costco. But I know...
Does she make a chicken sandwich?
Costco and chicken sandwiches? I don't understand. What?
They sell these pre-made spicy chicken sandwiches at Costco now. You stick them in the oven. I wouldn't say they're on the same level as the Popeyes spicy chicken sandwiches, but they're pretty darn good. They're really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I live with somebody who's in the Costco cult, so I have to put up with that kind of shit all the time.
Well, tell them there is a spicy chicken sandwich in the freezer section.
No,
that's
I'm
really
not
good.
Not going to tell them. I hate. Well, there's nothing wrong with Costco.
No, there's nothing wrong with Costco.
I have a huge problem with Costco.
You just have a huge problem with people.
No, oh my God, Steve, let me tell you a story. We went to Whataburger.
So Seth and Buford.
No, I got to tell you a story. We went to Whataburger today, okay? No, you're going to hate this. And this guy and his wife walk in.
Uh-huh.
She goes to order food. Now, for those of you who don't know, by the way, Whataburger is a very popular burger chain here in Texas. It's actually pretty delicious. It's like the one reason I would continue living in Texas. And the wife goes up to order food. You know what the husband does? He goes up to the soda machines, the fountain drinks, and he rinses his hand in the water from the fountain tap. I am not joking.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Sir, no, we have a bathroom for that.
Why?
I hate people. I swear to God. And
Why would you do that?
Yeah, this gentleman looked like he was maybe in his late 50s, maybe his 60s. He looked like a professional type. It looked like they have money. Of course, everybody in Lakeway looks like they have money. But Jesus F. Christ.
No common sense.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of a where did you... Sir, are you born in a barn? My God, my mother would smack the shit out of me if she saw me doing that. Anyway.
Okay, end of story time. We're also introduced to... we should also say, before anything, that Seth and Buford, by the way, have a childhood rivalry. They don't... I think they tease each other, almost, not to a cruel extent, but they tolerate one another. And they kind of tease each other. Right. Mm-hmm. But Buford's stepdaughter Margaret also comes in. By the way, we should be mentioning these as suspects. So,
these are all.
So obviously, evil Jim Varney, suspect. We're introduced to Evelyn, suspect, possible suspect.
She's number one suspect.
Yeah, we're introduced to Billy, the son of Kendall Ames, the botanist. He's a big suspect. Kendall Ames himself, I think, could be considered a suspect. Almost everybody in this episode, outside of Seth and Jessica, are suspects in this.
And in fact, if I didn't know any better, I would think that Kendall would be the murderer, but he's not. You know why I know that? Because in the Columbo File book, written by Mark DeWizizak, he mentions that there are... Yeah, he mentions that there are no people of color that were murderers in either Columbo or Murder, She Wrote. Columbo, okay, there's 69 episodes, whatever. I still would have liked to have seen Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones commit a murder on that.
Oh, yeah. That would be
Not
great.
on Murder, She Wrote.
I didn't know that.
Episodes.
I never kept track of that, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're introduced to Margaret, and we find out pretty quick, because she's the stepdaughter, and she dislikes Evelyn quite a bit.
Yeah, as you do when you're a stepdaughter, and Dad.
Well, she's not even I mean, what would that be? What would Evelyn be? It wouldn't be her stepmother, because it would be the second wife of your stepfather, because her mother passed.
Yeah. So she's played by an actress named Ann Cusack, and I didn't do a lot of research on her. All I know is that her bio on IMDb does not mention that she's related to John Cusack or Joan Cusack, but I'm pretty sure she is.
She kind of looks like it. I do see some. Now you say that her mouth specifically and her nose.
There are moments where it's like, oh my God, it's Joan Cusack. No, it's not. Yeah. I think she's actually prettier than Joan Cusack myself, but that's not what makes good acting, as we see in this episode. And then, oh my God, and then there's the award for the worst lawyer ever goes to Wilkes.
Yeah, I wonder if people see you as Dan Wilkes when you come visit them.
Absolutely not. They're more likely to see, I don't know, Jerry Spence than me as Wilkes. Do you know who Jerry Spence is?
I know the name, but
I don't know if he's still with us, but he was a lawyer. He was kind of a TV lawyer. He was more of an entertainment celebrity type guy, but his trademark was he'd wear one of those fucking leather jackets with all the tassels on him. Like you're a Native American, but you're not, and he had long hair.
Right.
Jerry Spence. I wonder if he died. Huh.
Yeah, so Dan Wilkes, he is. When you think of slimy lawyers, he kind of fits. As a matter of fact, if you look up in Webster's dictionary, slimy lawyer, it would be his photo. But he's this young man. He's this young. I would say he's youngish, maybe in his 30s. Not an ugly person, I wouldn't say. He's just his personality's ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a terrible lawyer. He has one drink with what's her face, Laura.
Nina.
Dina.
Larson. Nina Larson.
Yeah, Miss Larson. Yeah, and she automatically seduces him almost literally.
Well, because he's responsible for the estate and any kind of negotiations for Buford. So he's Buford's lawyer. And he sends Dan Wilkes to her office to say, contract's been broken, nothing can be done. And of course, she's panicking because she needs that, man gravy. And so she seduces Dan. And Dan's a sucker. Apparently, he doesn't get much pussy. And
you know what she has in her office? She has a couch fully loaded with 1995 pillows. And a fucking bar with fresh ice. So it has fresh ice.
I would want that kind of office. Why can't we?
It's not like a bar though. Like she has there's just a bunch of bottles on like a credenza, and so it's like we watched Columbo, and almost every Columbo murderer has a bar in their office or yeah. Yeah, if you have a bar, if you have a bar in your living room or in your office, you are a Columbo murderer, basically. But this lady, full fresh ice, a full thing. Like she just went down the hall to the ice machine in a hotel and got that, and she's like, come on, here we go, we're drinking till midnight till we have to wake up at 6 a.m. and go to Disney World.
So did you notice in Nina's office, she had all this marketing material for Forever Scarlet? And she was the model in the photos.
Oh, I did not notice
full of herself.
that. No.
Yeah,
Well,
very
that's
full
good.
of
I mean,
herself.
she's not an unattractive lady.
No, she's very pretty.
Yeah.
But she seduces Dan by talking about, oh, would you like some bourbon? Oh, here's some jazz. Do you like jazz? You know?
That's right.
And then as she serves him the bourbon, now she's wearing a business jacket, and it's very kind of a low cut, and she leans forward, and you can kind of see into, and I mean they're obviously making the suggestion that she's kind of seducing him with her boobies,
Yeah.
her mamos.
Boobies. And we have, in this episode of Murder, She Wrote, we have pillow foo, flower foo, 2 breasts. That's my Joe Bob Briggs again. Anyway. Buford likes to work with his flowers at night, which seems extremely relaxing to me. When I am an old fat man, I want to just go out to the potting shed and work on flowers.
You are not going to be working on flowers when you're. No. You'll be surrounded by cats.
I'll be surrounded by cats painting my Warhammer 40,000 figurines.
Exactly. With your little trifocals and your little paintbrush.
Oh my god, that's exactly what I do now almost.
So, Billy gets to visit his father, Kendall. And we find out a few things about Billy, which makes him a suspect. One, he's not doing very good. He's in high school. He looks a little too old for high school, to be quite honest, but he hasn't graduated high school. And so his father, Kendall's like, hey, you gotta build up grades, you gotta stop hanging around that gang, and you gotta say no to drugs. Well, maybe he didn't say that part. But he's obviously, Billy's a fuck up. He's, and Billy's gonna be offered a lot of money soon to find that tree. So again, Billy becomes, in my mind, if it wasn't for the fact that he's so obvious a suspect, that he would be a primary suspect. No, because he's got money. He's not doing well in school, and he's just not doing well.
Yeah,
he's hanging out with the wrong crowd.
Yeah, he's seen by our protagonist walking away from the scene of the crime as well, which means
that as well. Yeah, that is
not him. Yeah. So they have a party there at the plantation.
Oh yes.
I don't remember why, but I think it's just to have a party for party's sake. They drink a lot of white wine, and speaking of drinking, we're introduced to another cousin of Buford's, Rob. And Rob he
doesn't like Seth. No one likes Seth. I think the whole Hazlitt family have issues with each other. They're just it's like if Oscar the Grouch had an extended family, that would be the Hazlitts.
Oh, wait a minute. He does have an extended family, Steve.
Oscar the Grouch?
Don't you remember? Yeah, he does. Doesn't he have like a brother
hell,
or a cousin who's
fuck if I know.
brown?
That's racist.
And then there's like there's a lady, Oscar the Grouch too. Doesn't he have like a girlfriend or something?
So are you saying these things reproduce? There's sex, there's female and male, so that would imply a relationship of sex encounters? Baby Oscars being born?
Sure. Have you ever seen that SNL quote-unquote commercial? I can't remember the actor's name.
With David Harbour?
Yeah. Yes! Yeah, where it's the Grouch, but they make it look like the Joker. I feel grouchy. I love that. I think that's a piece of fucking art, that little fake commercial. You apparently don't feel the same. But
it's okay.
So we're introduced to their other cousin, the portly Rob, which, when I say portly, I don't mean to... I don't know. The guy just seems like he's...
I like him.
Well...
I like him because there's one scene at the reading of the will, and he starts to laugh. It's the most evil and deep baritone-sounding laugh. Like, this guy must have, done cartoon... Saturday morning cartoon villains. He had to have. That laugh was like... Could have been in Predator. I don't know. But it's just... This is a great voice. I mean, the guy's wonderful.
Yeah, he doesn't drink. and I thought this was going to be a clue because he does this thing where like the waiter comes up, you want some wine. They have a shot of the wine. I'm like, aha! There's 3 white wine glasses and 1 red. No, that doesn't come up again.
He's like, no, where's the Jägermeister? He doesn't want the wine.
Yeah. Rob is a recovering alcoholic. He hasn't drank, and I can't remember if it was 1 year or 2 years. And
1 year.
It's just mentioned because nobody trusts him with any of the money or any of the stake because he's going to fuck it up because he's a drunk. Which is a pity because he seems like a really nice
That's
guy.
why they bring it up. Yeah, because it feels like they brought that up and it never went anywhere.
Yeah. And I thought it was going to be a clue. I thought, wait a minute, maybe it's him. Maybe it's him.
Right.
Robert's the murderer.
Yep.
No, that doesn't go anywhere. So, Buford is murdered. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here. This is my number 1 pet peeve with murder mysteries.
Okay.
And that is, you cannot kill someone by suffocating them with a pillow.
Really?
Unless they are extremely, extremely weak. And even then, I don't know if it's possible. In the movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it ends with Jack Nicholson, who's just had a lobotomy. He gets smothered by a pillow. This is what you do. And I'm saying this to you, Steve. I'm saying this to the readers as well. Find a loved one that you trust. In fact, it doesn't have to be a loved one. It could be, a homeless person off the street. But anyway, bring them to your bedroom. Lay down, get your pillow, and ask them to smother you to death. And you have to be like, nope, don't be nice. Just do it for,
Go on. Okay, yeah. Okay, so why?
Steve, the readers want to hear this. And it's not possible. You cannot kill somebody by smothering them with a pillow if they are an able-bodied human being that breathes normally.
Well, what about, would you take into the fact that they're struggling, so they're using it, they need more air? Like, so you're trying to fight somebody off you, like, because they're laying on top of you, or you're having to take in more oxygen to, to breathe more heavily. If you can't fill your lungs with air, wouldn't that kill you?
That's a good question. I don't know. You're going to be here in the month after next. We can try it out.
No. I'm not saying I want to try this. This is not that.
There's another reason I know this, because there is a movie where they actually tried it out. If you ever watch, Amazing Sunshine of the, what's it called? With Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, what was it?
Eternal Sunshine of the
Mind or something.
Fuck. What's that called?
I think it's Eternal Sunshine of the Mind or something like that.
Yeah. Oh my God, I feel like I'm like grandpa.
I couldn't finish that film, but okay, does that happen?
I'm not a really big fan either, but there's like a 20-second clip from that movie where they're doing the same thing. They're trying to suffocate each other with a pillow, and they find out it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can't do it. Eternal Sunshine. Fuck.
Hold on. Eternal Sunshine of the Fuck. Okay, that sounds like a good film name.
Yeah, starring Ruth from. Oh, My Mom Called. 22 minutes ago.
You should. I told you.
Well, I didn't hear it. I don't hear Eternal. It should be the first one. Wait, hold on. Eternal.
So why you look this?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Jessica, during this struggle, Jessica wakes up at 2:50 in the morning because she hears something, and then she gets up, looks outside the window, just like she does in the tower one, crossroads of the tower. She looks out her window, and she sees something. In this case, she sees Billy leaving the house. Dun dun dun. So again, Billy, major suspect here. In the morning, the wife, or not the wife, the girlfriend discovers Buford, just like the Irish one, and Seth inspects the cadaver, and we have Evelyn and Sergeant Lindley in there as well, who's I guess there to report the incident, and we notice, or Seth notices, that Buford's hand is squeezed tight with rigor mortis. He's holding something.
Yeah, and he calls it something else. He doesn't call it rigor mortis.
He doesn't? Oh.
No, he calls it something else. And yeah, so we find out later on that in Buford's dead, clenched hands, in his cold, dead hands, is actually a fingernail, a Lee press-on nail, if you will.
Yes,
belonging to Evelyn. You know what Lee press-on nails are?
I just remember them.
God bless you, Steve.
I didn't buy them.
Lee press-on nails.
So,
press-on nails.
Nina's kind of doing the rounds. She visits Kendall, trying to recruit him, and then she pays. Like, she gives Dan, the lawyer, a check because now he's free, right? He's free from the estate, except for the will reading, and she's willing to pay him for his services, whichever that means.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, and by the way, he's not free because he says at one point, even though Buford's dead, he still has to represent the estate, and I think that is questionable, but whatever. They don't. There's legal shit in TV and movies. I don't, because there has to be an executor or an executrix of the estate, and that person usually.
Do they wear leather and chains?
Points of loiter. Yes, they do, Steve. Does that make you feel better if they do? But to be completely frank with you, Steve, that's exactly what I think every time I see that word. I picture lady like, I am in charge of this will. So what's her face?
Reading of the will.
This is another thing. This is a movie thing. Reading of the will. You only see this in, like, mystery movies. Or in movies like Brewster's Millions. Remember that movie?
Yes, I do. I haven't thought of that film in 20 years, probably.
For the children who may not remember, Brewster's Millions was a comedy from the 80s, starring Richard Pryor.
And John Candy.
And John Candy, yes. Both late and great. And he basically... I
think they played for the Atlanta Braves, which was a Ted Turner film. Our Ted Turner team. Ted Turner owned the Braves at some point.
And he has to... Apparently, Richard Pryor's like a cheapskate, and I don't remember how he knows the guy who died, but I remember the guy's got a video will.
Oh, it's his great uncle or something.
Okay. And video wills are an actual thing. They do exist. I actually learned about it in school, and they're perfectly fine. And he says, okay, you will inherit my entire estate, but you're going to get $1 million, and I think he has 30 days to spend $1 million. See, this is what people tune in for, is this right here. Right here. This, ladies and gentlemen, do you see this?
What?
Hi. So what is he? He tells you've got 30 days to spend $1 million.
Or something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
and he can't donate it. He's got to spend it on himself. Like he can't give it away. He can't. Yeah. So he can't just donate $1 million.
This is the stupidest thing, if you think about it, but really, at the moment, right now, I think I may go watch this movie as soon as we're done.
It's a good movie. No, it's actually really good. And the guy that is the uncle that gives Richard Pryor the video will. He's like this old racist white man in a wheelchair. And he's got like an oxygen tank, so he'll start laughing like, and you can't spend it on yourself. He's gonna read it, and then he takes it off and he starts laughing some more. I mean, it's so weird.
I liked Richard Pryor. He was,
he's great.
I loved him when he was in movies with Gene Wilder.
Yes. Running Scared, I think was one. What was the other one? There was he did a couple of films with him.
Silver Street, yeah. Where Gene Wilder, it was kind of like North by Northwest, but a comedy, and Gene Wilder's wanted by the police. He's at a train station. Mm-hmm. The police are looking for him. So
is that Richard when he puts on blackface?
Yes!
Oh my god. That would not work today. Oh man.
But it's so fucking hilarious. Because he's like, I'm bad.
He's bad. They do this whole... And he's like, he does a Jamaican voice. Oh my god, it's so racist. There's no way that would ever get made today. No way.
Oh, may they both rest in peace.
Yes. Okay, so we're reading the will. So the maid and butler get $10,000 each. Kendall gets that's the scientist or botanist, whatever he is, gets half the proceeds from the sale of the magnolia tree. Robert, the cousin, the one that has the really deep laugh, he gets 5,000 only. Like, I was shocked.
Like, fuck you, whatever. What are you gonna? I'm not gonna spend it on wine, Buford. Really?
Yeah. And then JB or Jessica gets a cutting from the Queen Anne rosebush, which I guess is a. And it's funny that because Jessica doesn't need money. Money is a non-issue for her. So it's kind of nice that she got something that she of value, a cutting of a rose, because she does garden.
It's quite possible she doesn't give a shit, but you wouldn't know it from her reaction that she's so surprised and excited.
Well, and did you know she did something in this episode I have yet to see? So I don't know if this is seen in other scenes, but she is so excited. She does the little Meg Ryan nose scrunch. You know what I'm talking about?
Really? Yeah, I know the nose scrunch from Meg Ryan, but I didn't see it or remember it.
She does that when she finds out she gets that. She looks to Seth and she does the little nose, like Meg Ryan nose scrunch. It's bizarre. I've never seen her do it before. Was Meg Ryan? Was that when she hit her stride in Hollywood? I don't. It's kind of cute, but whatever. Margaret, the
What happened to Meg Ryan?
I don't know.
She was in this movie. Holy cow! I remember my mom and I going to see this movie. I think it was her husband was Andy Garcia, and she was a huge alcoholic, like really bad.
Based off real life. Okay.
Yeah. But don't say that about Meg Ryan. We don't know her. Or based off of my life, probably. But she was like day drinking and all this shit. And I remember now. The movie was called When a Man Loves a Woman. And it was about her, going through all this alcoholism. And back when I saw that movie, I didn't know that such a thing existed. I didn't know that people actually become addicted to alcohol. And then I was like, fuck that. I'll be one of those. And here I am doing a podcast about Murder, She Wrote that doesn't have anything to do.
And I'll never get your liver. Damn it. So, yeah. Margaret, the stepdaughter. By the way, we don't really explain that Buford didn't quite like her for kind of a main reason. So, Margaret is a playwright, lives in New York. So, she's just a constant financial sponge on Buford. But she's a playwright, and I guess in one of her plays, she calls out her stepfather Buford and her mother, and Buford even says like, I could live with what you said about me in your play, but what you said about your mother was unacceptable, or something along those lines. So, anyways,
all these people are perfect suspects, basically.
Yeah, everybody in the reading,
their own little motives.
Yeah, everybody in the reading is pretty much like a suspect. But she gives Margaret a free lifetime pass to the Riverton Gardens. That's what she inherits, and it's funny. That's when Robert or Rob laughs that really deep, like, because she's a little.
That's
bitch.
The biggest fuck you ever. And she storms off the set. By the way, did you notice? In that scene in particular, there's a number of low-hanging ceiling fans. There's a lot of ceiling fans in this episode. I think it's meant to give us that, deep south feeling, like it's always musty and hot and humid.
Get the vapors.
Yeah. Like, you got a courtroom scene or something.
So Evelyn and Seth get equal shares of the Riverton Gardens, and of course Seth, he's just not happy. He's happy with his beat up car and his life in Cabot. He doesn't want this extra shit.
Yeah, he's like,
so
some things are better off left dead. That's my main accent. Some things are better off left dead.
I learned something interesting because we're talking about the reading of the will, and then you tell me if this is wrong because I read it on Reddit. And Reddit can sometimes be a good source of information, and sometimes it can be a source of bullshit. So someone said that in movies, you always see somebody like leave, even the people they don't like. Let's say if they have a child, they don't want them to inherit anything. They'll leave them $1, and it's not because the dollar is like an insult. It's because you obviously left them in the will, and so they can't counter. If you leave them nothing, they can actually take to court the will and say that it was, or I don't know, it wasn't done correctly. But if you actually leave them something, as little as $1, it shows intent. Is that true?
I do not think that's true. No. I don't think that's true at all. I may be wrong, but this is not my wheelhouse. I mean, I took like one semester of this. It is a fascinating topic, by the way, and you can have what's called a holographic will, where you just, you could write it. I mean, there's been cases where, somebody was in prison and they wrote the will on their prison wall of their cell, and that's been able to pass probate. But I don't think there's anything that says. I mean, let's say that
by leaving something, you
case.
leave. Yeah.
No, what was the name of the girl that the old man married her? She's from Texas. God damn,
you're talking about he was like an oil billionaire.
And she married him.
And she was like a Playboy
90
bunny.
Years old. Yeah. What was her name?
Oh yeah.
She's no longer with us. Pamela Ann Anderson?
No. It was. Hold on. She was a blonde.
She did commercials for like weight loss drugs after.
She did Guess Jeans.
Yes. Hold on, I gotta. Whoever finds it first wins a prize.
All right.
Blonde who married billionaire. Oh my God! It came up. It's no. Okay, wait, no. Anna Nicole Smith.
That's it.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah, the honey boo boo of the '90s. Yes.
Yeah, and she basically married this guy, and he left all his money to her, and then his children
got nothing. Right?
They got nothing. Like, it was a big fuck you. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court of the U.S., which, by the way, fuck you, Supreme Court, right now, but I'm not going to get into that. But she won. Because if you are an old codger, and even if you're fucking this young blonde thing and you want to leave all your money to her, that's what you want.
And she died, too. I mean, she...
Yeah, she died very young. I think of
probably overdose
or diet pills or something like that. But yeah, that was the big case, and those people could still contest the will, and obviously they did because it went all the way to the Supreme Court because they were not, they were left out of it. And I may be wrong. I think they probably were in the will. They just didn't get the bulk of his riches. But anybody could contest a will. I say anybody, but there's probably some rules limiting certain people. Anyway, Jesus.
So JB and Seth go looking. So everything hinges now on finding this magnolia tree, and it's hidden. And only Kendall knows the location. Because before it was only Kendall and Buford. And Kendall will not disclose the location because he feels like that's his life insurance. Like, as soon as that comes out, someone's going to kill him.
He's a professional, unlike the lawyer who will just capitulate if someone flashes him some side boob. But what I love here is Corey Davis, the would-be homeless man, if you will. There's a great scene where Seth and Jessica get out of a car and they see him spying. And he does this thing where he like pretends for a second that he's like looking at the plants, and then he takes off. I have a theory about Corey, and that is that he is, when he gets home, he's like a flamboyant, screaming gay man. Like, he's just so femme. Because if you watch, there's a scene with him and Billy where they're talking, and he offers Billy money to find out where the magnolia tree is. Billy walks off. And then Corey does this thing where he puts his wrist on his thing, like, and then struts off. And, the same thing when he's looking at this tree. He just sort of like gets really upset and flutters off. And am I allowed to say this? I don't know if it's okay to say it or not, but I'm going to say it.
No, I think you can say it better than I could. But
okay, all right.
So Sergeant Lindley finds that fake nail right in Buford's hand, ends up arresting Evelyn because it's the same nail or style that she wears. They find the package of the nail in her trash that it came from or whatever. And so they arrest her. So he asked, the sergeant asks Jessica to go ahead and fill out a statement because she made a statement earlier about hearing the sounds at like 3 in the morning. So she goes there, and while she's signing the statement, we happen to see... Now, by the way, we're about 40 minutes into an hour episode, maybe 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, we have no clue of who the killer could be. I mean, everybody's still out equal value. Maybe Billy's ahead in the race a little. Evelyn...
Yeah, I have no idea who it is. I didn't have a clue.
But we get the final clue that will nail the killer. So while Jessica's filling out that statement, behind her is the schedule board for the sheriff's department. And we can see that Lindley is supposed to be patrolling Riverton between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Okay, pause right now.
Yeah.
Because she looks at it, and she looks interested, and I'm like, okay, this is a clue.
Yeah. Well, no, like literally the camera zooms in onto the board.
Just like
if it was in the background, I would never have paid it any attention. But the fact that it zooms in, so the scheduling board takes up the whole TV screen. Yeah, and we don't know
this a lot. They do this a lot. Yeah,
we don't know the other. We don't know the other deputies or people that work at the sheriff's office. We don't know their names, but we know Lindley's name, and obviously we're going to be looking at what his schedule is.
And all I can think at this point is, is he the murderer?
Yeah, that's out of left field for me. I would never have guessed at all. Like, if we had out of the 10, he'd be the lowest in the lowest 3.
Yeah,
right.
Then that's what I thought for a moment, and then I instantly banished it from my mind because Lindley is the local popo. He can't be the murderer, right? But what is it? Why is there a clue on the thing? I don't know why. And it's driving me crazy, Steve. For about 5 minutes, I'm like, I couldn't pay attention to what was going on the screen. I'm like, what does that mean? What's going on? What does that board mean? Because they want us to know it's a clue, but they're not explaining it, and it's driving me crazy. But keep on keeping on. What happens next? So
Jessica and Seth, now they know they've got to find this damn magnolia tree. And Jessica says, it's just so matter of fact, this greenhouse is like a TARDIS. It is bigger on the outside. Well, I guess the opposite of a TARDIS. It's bigger on the outside than it is it's smaller inside. That's so weird. Why would that be? It's got to be because there's a hidden room.
Yeah. You know what you just said? The word TARDIS in the lexicon of the language, at least over across the pond, that is just universal of bigger on the inside. And Tom watches these stupid gardening shows from England. Okay. And one time he's like, Sean, come here, watch this. I'm like, I don't want to see on one of your stupid...
This is why you're not going to be gardening when you're in your 90s. And
well, basically, that's what the show is.
I'm not watching that stupid show.
People in their fucking 90s. And it's people in their 90s on the show showing... Anyway, there's a scene where there's this guy showing her, this old lady, around his garden, and then he goes into this little hedge thing in the back, and she goes, "Oh, it's like a TARDIS back here." And I love that in England, it's just a name for, we know exactly what you're talking about when you say TARDIS. It's like if somebody said, "Oh, I'm not going to open up that Pandora's box," that means it's going to be like a can of worms. I'm not doing that. Yeah. I love that. But anyway, yeah. But wait, hold on. Before we find the tree, which is what you're getting at, Evelyn is arrested. Now,
right.
I challenge this show, because every single, I don't know why, but every single fucking episode, somebody is arrested that didn't do it. And why do they do this all the time? It's like a staple. And I'm not, it's not bad. I just why? Mm-hmm. Then just for once, I want to see the person who's arrested turn out to be the murderer after all. And it just, I think they put it in sometimes because that's Jessica's impotence. Not impotence.
Impotence?
Her impetus? Impetus? Her,
Impetus, yes.
That's her motivation for trying to solve the murder, because that will clear the name of an innocent person. So, yeah. So we know it's not Evelyn now because she's been arrested for the murder. It can't be her. And,
can't be.
Go ahead.
No, it can't be her. No.
So, yeah. So, tell us about the secret room with the tree in it there, Steve.
So it's in a gardening locker in the greenhouse, and it's got like a secret door. Love secret doors, by the way. I think they're so fun. Very Scooby-Doo-ish.
Mm-hmm. Love me a secret door.
But behind the garden shed,
there one in my house.
It leads into another room where the special magnolia tree is. So now they know where the tree is, and they know Billy saw something because he was there the night of the crime. He was outside the window, so he must have seen something. So Seth and Jessica say, "Hey, look, tell whoever you know," because Billy, by the way, is not being cooperative at all. They say, just tell your contact who's looking for the tree that you found the tree and it's here. And so they basically lay a trap. They're going to see who's going to come that night. And of course it's Sodger Lindley. He shows up to collect the tree for Nina.
And Jessica's there, and she's like, "Well, you, sir, are the murderer." And of course, per usual, it's just her, or it appears to be just her, and the cops don't come out until the murderer does something. They're like hiding behind the scenes, and the murderer. He does pull out a gun, and he's the murderer. It's Lindley.
Yeah.
And she knows because she saw the schedule that we were talking about on the whiteboard, and he was supposed to work from 8 until 4, I think.
Right.
And when the body was discovered, it was before 8. And
he was on the scene at 7:30. So he was 30 minutes earlier than his shift started.
And when I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, these people are early risers, or they're not drinkers. I don't know which. But he starts making up excuses. He starts trying to cash checks that his ass aren't. No, he starts writing checks his ass can't cash because he's like, oh, Sergeant Colfax called in. No, I showed up early. I had insomnia, and Sergeant Colfax, blah, 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 bullshit. And then Jessica's like, well, no, I have proof, and the proof is that Billy here saw you leaving the house.
That's like the biggest proof right there. Jeez.
Yeah, that's the proof. That's like, oh my God, it's been here all the time. And then he draws a gun.
And Lindley could just say, oh, Billy, yeah, he's in a gang. I don't know if I would trust him. God, whatever.
Exactly. So, it's what his lawyer would say later on. And, I can imagine him getting arrested and going, oh, well, sir, you could have just said that. No, sir, you drew a gun? You pointed it at her?
Yeah. So how many times... I always like it when the killer draws a gun on Jessica. She always looks surprised, one. And whenever the backup comes, of course, in the nick of time, she's always... whew, that relief, that she just gives that sigh of relief, like, oh, that was close. How many times do you think Jessica's been at the end of a gun barrel like that? It must be hundreds of times.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you meet murderers late at night in like a greenhouse. You don't do it, sir. No. And I don't know what he was thinking, because was he going to kill Billy too? He was going to kill Jessica and Billy.
Why isn't Billy helping out?
Yeah. So he's the murderer, and then in the last scene of the episode, we find out that Evelyn and Seth have agreed to make Rob and somebody partners, and isn't that great? And Jessica's like, well, Seth, now I'm going to have you drive me down here once every year. Oh, let's laugh at that so we can have a freeze frame of Jessica.
Oh, no. Before that happens, we get one more Meg Ryan nose scrunch at Seth. I'm telling you, when you watch it again, you will see it now.
Okay.
So we get 2 Meg Ryan nose scrunches in this episode. I mean, it's adorable. It's cute. Angela Lansbury pulls it off very well.
2 Meg Ryan nose scrunches. 2 breasts.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's my Joe Bob Briggs. All right. So, are you ready to rate this thing?
I am.
This is the scene.
Okay,
where I gotta
so
put my glasses on.
There was a lot of numbers that were thrown out, especially dollar amounts were thrown out in this episode. I didn't want to go for the obvious. So, however, there was a number that I thought was very fun and well hidden if you knew where to look. So in the scene where Jessica's at the sheriff's office and we get a close-up of that schedule board, we see at the very bottom of the board, it says that Riverton County Sheriff's Department annual party on the 23rd. Dress for the occasion, please. So, Sean, what would you rate this episode 1 out of 23?
Now, for you lawyer readers who've heard the other 22 episodes of the Cabot Cove Confab, this is where I go first, or you go first, and it's always me first, apparently, because Steve picks the number. Out of 23, I'm going to tell you, Steve, I really enjoyed this episode. You know why? I just love the whole concept or the whole theme of rich guy having a party. Everybody's invited.
That's what you like. You like the party.
Yeah.
You wish you were invited.
To party. I like to party.
Would you be like the old man at the party that was the doctor? I don't know who that was.
That was part of it. Is that the cop, the killer, thought that he was going to be the attending physician, and therefore he's so senile or whatever that he was not going to order an autopsy. Therefore, they'll never know it was murder.
I didn't catch that at all. Okay.
Yeah, no, she said that.
Okay.
And so I like this. I really like this a lot. I just love a good mystery where everybody in the story is a suspect. Everybody's an asshole. They all have different motives. We've got this lady. She may be the murderer because she had the perfect motive, but it's almost too obvious to be her. And by that I'm talking about, I can't remember her name. The
Evelyn?
perfume executive.
Evelyn. Oh, Nina.
Not Evelyn.
Nina.
Nina, the perfume executive. Man, that would be a job, huh? Perfume executive. Everybody's got a motive. There's things that are brought up. I'm like, oh, that's got to be a clue. That's got to be a clue. That's a clue. That's a clue. And you have a clue. And you. Turns out it's all bullshit. It's not about the magnolia tree. That's not the motive. It's a completely different thing that you never thought of, although you were shown it, and that's that somebody was dumped by Evelyn. And that's basically the motive. It's a stupid motive, but it works for a story. I don't know how often it happens. And
love spurned, my friend. Love spurned.
Yeah. Love spurned. There you go. Unrequited love. It's a good motive, I think. And it not only that, but the murderer doesn't turn out to be one of the obvious suspects.
No.
As many of them as there are. It's the fucking local po-po. What's going on, Murder, She Wrote? You did this? I can't believe it's the po-po. The murderer's the po-po.
I'm now sad I even brought that word up in this conversation. Oh my God.
This is all the good stuff. But there's a little tiny scintilla of bad stuff. Are you telling me that this guy, you know who the murderer was the whole time and he didn't say anything, and that's your proof? That sucks.
And why wouldn't he say anything?
Yes!
Billy knew the entire time. He's like, I want to talk to you. I'm not telling you. And same with his father. Would not, like, that family does not talk.
Yeah. We really need to go to the IHOP and fix our problems because you guys, come on. And also, I don't know how you hide a magnolia tree where it can't get any sun or water.
I don't either. I don't understand. But, it's in a greenhouse, so I don't know how those things work.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask the local botanist about that. But otherwise, I really liked this episode, except I didn't like the end. And, one of the great things They don't have it so much in Murder, She Wrote. They have it in Columbo, where you've got really great clues, killer clues that are so clever. Like there's that episode, Candidate for Crime, where he goes and digs the bullet out of the wall before the shooting even took place. That's gotcha. There's no getting out of that. Or I know you don't like this episode, but Playback, where he's got the two tapes and he can see the invitation for the party that the guy went to before the murder, and the invitation's right there on the desk, and that was his go-to for the party. Those are great clues. You don't see much of that in a Murder, She Wrote. And you know what? I wish they did, but this is just shit. That gotcha clue is just shit. And I don't think the schedule at the police at the Popo office, I don't think that doesn't fly with me. You know, I mean, if you're a policeman, you've got half a dozen reasons for showing up early for work. They often work off the clock. You know, that's okay. And he says that.
I think if he hadn't pulled the gun, he could have talked his way out of it.
Gosh, yes. Yeah,
pulling the gun was just stupid.
But despite how much I didn't like the gotcha clue, I really liked the story, and I really liked who the murderer was. Wow. And that's all. I haven't seen a solution like this since I read some of Agatha Christie's earlier stories, which she does this in her earlier stories. She did it a number of times where I actually got to the point where I didn't like it, and then she started veering towards Poirot and Miss Marple and so on. Steve, what did you think of it?
Well, you didn't give it a number, so out of 23?
Oh, I didn't give it... 20 out of 23. I liked it a lot. I'm shaving those 3 points off for the ending with Billy. Did not like Billy. Didn't think he needed even to be in the story.
No.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible. And I'm racist. So,
it's fun. It's funny you say that number because, a lot of times I have a number already in my head, and then as you discuss it, or we discuss kind of our final thoughts, it starts to formulate really where I want to go with that number. But off the bat, I was going to rate this 20 out of 23. And that happens a lot. There's a lot of times where we both kind of go at the same number, and it surprises me. Like I don't know what you're going to rate it as, obviously, because you don't know what the number is going to be. And
it's synchronicities. We're psychic, Steve.
I guess.
Connected psychic.
I enjoy it when we were vastly different. When you like something and I hate it, or vice versa. But I agree with you. The Scent of Murder. I enjoyed getting a little backstory behind Seth's background, the Hazlitt family. Yeah. And I was just saying that last episode, the Deadly Assets, where they were planning Seth's surprise birthday. And that was one of the things I enjoyed last episode, was we got a little bit more about Seth. We got to learn about the character. And it's funny, I was saying I enjoyed that. And then this very next episode that is honestly random. I don't know if anybody doesn't believe that, but these episodes
really random,
it is random. And this dipped deep into Seth's background. And I enjoyed that. I thought it was very entertaining. I like the fact that Seth is the Oscar the Grouch, and he's got other male cousins that are also, grumpy as hell,
fat and gray.
Yeah, they're all the same. I enjoyed it, and it had me guessing. The one thing I didn't like, the Billy thing, that didn't bother me so much. But what I didn't like was that the only real clue for me, at least, was that schedule board at 45 minutes into an hour episode. I felt like there could have been a little more laces, or maybe at the beginning. You could say where the sheriff is flirting with Evelyn, but maybe that, I don't know. I just felt like there could have been more. I would have liked to have seen more. But when you got a 60-minute episode, you're kind of having to cut things out. Kind of like with Rob Hazlitt being an alcoholic. Like, they didn't go anywhere for me.
Yeah. I thought it was a clue. I really did, because they did the same thing with the drinks that they do with the whiteboard and the schedule, is that they focused in on the drink, or they literally had a shot of glasses of wine on a serving tray, and I thought, that's going to be a clue. there's going to be a murder in a minute. They're going to poison.
So I was going to drink something. Yep.
Yeah.
But-
that didn't happen.
But overall, I really enjoyed it. It's a very fun episode.
Yeah.
Besides those
it
very
is.
minor, nothing's going to be perfect, but this was quite nice. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. And it's silly. The concept of having this magnolia tree that gives off this man juice, this baby batter.
Man gravy.
Why we're like in our 40s going on 12 right now.
We're not in our 40s, Sean. We're older than that. I appreciate that you're underscoring our age, but
sir, we are in our 40s. You're in your 40s.
not much longer.
Well, you've got almost a whole year to go.
I'm as old as your partner. Let's put it that way. I'm a few months shy of your partner's age.
Yeah, I've got to hear about that over and over again. By the way, you were invited to his 50th birthday party on the 21st. That's his actual birthday.
21st.
So
wait, his birthday's on the 21st?
Yeah, yours is too.
Mine is also on the 21st. Wait, what month?
Yeah. January for you.
Yeah, but I know my birthday, goofball. What's his month?
His would be this month, May.
Oh.
Yeah. So you guys are literally like 4 months apart.
Huh.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to come to Austin for his birthday party, no pressure. If you want, I know your friend.
He doesn't.
Tien.
Oh, maybe Tien and I can.
Who lives a mile away isn't going to come.
And I'm sure Tien is thrilled that we're mentioning his name on this podcast.
He doesn't know. He just so you know, friends, the readers. So my best friend is Steve. My partner Tom's best friend is Tien, and it just so happens, just by coincidence, Tien and Steve live within like a mile of each other. About a mile, would you say?
About 5 miles. Yeah.
But Tien, 5 miles, both in Richardson though.
Mm-hmm.
Richardson, the ventriloquist capital of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the famous ventriloquists come from. If you don't believe me,
And
check
comedians
it
of the
out.
world, yes.
Just ventriloquists. Okay.
All right.
So
Okay, spin the wheel. So get those damn cats out here.
Wheel. The cats have brought out the season 12 wheel.
The last season of Murder, She Wrote. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Steve, whenever you're ready, go ahead and spin the fucking wheel.
I'm spinning it now. I didn't want the cats to get too excited. So
Okay. No, they're not excited at all. Okay. All right. We will be watching. Ooh, it's a cool name. It's called... Steve, contain yourself.
I just like how excited you are. You told us what it is. Just,
Well,
ooh, this is so exquisite. Go on.
No, so much. I fucking hate you so much. I didn't say that. Ooh, it's exquisite. What am I, a Batman villain or something? Ooh, well.
Your Vincent Price is, was it Egghead? What was his name? It's exquisite.
Shut up. I love Vincent Price.
I do too.
Oh, Svengoolie, the guy I was talking about before, the horror host from
God.
Chicago, he's got a Facebook page, and he posted that May is Vincent Price's birth month, so they're going to show a bunch of Vincent Price movies.
Nice.
And some asshole responded to this with boring.
What?
Fuck you. Fuck you. Svengoolie exists so you can watch Vincent Price movies for free on cable. Oh man, anybody who just there's this great meme that I put up. It's I know you don't go on the social medias.
No.
And I know you're waiting to find out.
I'm almost 50. I don't do that.
I'm going to edge you until we get there. There's this great meme. And the meme says, this is the only reason people get me out of my house to go to parties. And it's still a Vincent Price from The Haunting of Hill House. And he's like, there'll be food and drink and ghosts.
I would be for that.
Yeah. Somebody else had a picture of Vincent Price with his arms full of cats and like he's looking all wide-eyed at something. And it's like me when I'm at home and the doorbell rings. It's exactly.
That's you.
I fucking hate when the doorbell rings. Do I have to put pants on? Do I have to be mean? Because, you know, those cute little guys that come around for the, what do you call it? The Mormons?
The Mormons? Yeah. Is it the Mormons? Or is it FedEx delivering my Murder, She Wrote board game I bought off eBay? Or is it... Is it Uber Eats with my lunch? I just don't know.
With my Wendy's jalapeno popper sandwich? Is it Pam from across the street that comes and feeds her cats when we're on vacation? But oh my God, now she's moving to Oregon, so now we don't know what we're gonna do.
All right, you haven't said the episode yet. Just what episode is it?
Jesus Christ! I have to put my glasses back on and everything.
Oh my God.
We
used to be young when we started podcasting. Used to be.
Yeah, we did. We were. I was getting laid left and right.
Sure.
All right. So it's called Something Foul in Flappyville. Something Foul in Flappyville.
Is that FOWL or FO like foul as in a bird or?
Hold on.
FOUL. You say Flappy?
Flappyville. I'm sorry. I must have typed it in wrong. It's Floppyville. A child's toy becomes an instrument of death when a security guard is found murdered, and the only suspect is a puppet based on a character that Jessica created in a short story. Steve, I don't want to watch
it. It sounds like something from Goosebumps. I am looking forward to this. So is it foul F like a bird, or is it foul like it's smell?
Hold on. I think I accidentally pulled out the insert from the Mrs. Columbo DVD set. Floppyville. It's
no foul. How is foul spelled? Is it like a bird or like foul smell?
Why would it give it like a bird, Steve? Is this?
I don't know. These titles like puns. These titles like puns.
No, it's something foul, FOUL, in Floppyville.
I don't know. Is Floppyville a bird? I don't know.
I don't know either. But I bet you we're going to find out when we see the... You know what? And to think that this is the episode after Murder Among Friends. We could have seen that episode. The one about Friends.
Oh, yeah. I want to see that one.
It's all random people. See, others... They'd be like, okay, we want to talk about the virtual reality one. We want to talk about the one about Friends. We want to talk about
those are all later.
The ski lodge one, which we've done. And then you've got 257 episodes that you're just gonna have to you're gonna have to watch Hannigan's Wake and Deadly Assets.
That's Flappyville, huh?
Floppyville, like. Floppy disk. Remember those?
Like me in the bed. Yeah, that's great.
Speak for yourself, sir. And you know what? You can do a lot without that thing. You know what? You can do a lot.
What?
You've got this thing in your mouth called a tongue. All the ladies are like, yay!
What? So weird.
No. Folks, if you're middle-aged, we are, and Floppyville, as Steve has just confessed, is that it's him in the bedroom.
I didn't
it's
say
okay. You did fucking just say it. You said it just now.
It's not like you have a recording or anything.
Anyway, there's a lot more to do if you're creative. All right, say goodnight, Steve.
All right, guys. Until next time.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Cabot Cove Confab. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Cabot Cove Confab or email us at cabotcoveconfab@gmail.com.